Okay, good morning, everyone. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to today's Warm Homes Local Grant Eligibility Checker and Referral Service webinar. My name is Ben Hebert, and I'm a Senior Consultant at Turner & Townsend and Regional Lead here at Retrofit Information Support and Expertise, also known as RISE. We're joined today by Charlotte Sewell, Gareth Harvey, Nicholas Graham, Iona Wilson, and Callum Reid from the Department for Energy, Security and Net Zero, and Ladu Omadei from Software, supplier for the Eligibility Checker and Referral Service. This is a RISE webinar. RISE is a completely free service fully funded by the Department for Energy, Security and Net Zero to support housing providers and local authorities with their retrofit programs. The purpose of today's event is to provide you understanding of the Eligibility Checker and Referral Service as an essential service and mandatory requirement for all those involved in delivering Warm Homes Local Grant. During the session, content will outline the purpose, key features, and benefits of the service, ensuring attendees have a clear understanding of how it will support effective delivery. The department will be joined by Software, who will provide a walkthrough of the service for both homeowners and those managing the referral portal, offering practical insights into how it works in action. Thank you once again for joining us today. I will now hand over to Charlotte Sewell to start today's briefing.
Good morning, everyone. So just on behalf of the Department for Energy, Security and Net Zero, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar. We're here to introduce the new Warm Homes Local Grant Digital Eligibility Checker and Referral Service. So thank you so much for joining us, especially our colleagues from local authorities and from our delivery partners. You're absolutely central to this work, and your continued support delivers retrofit projects that make a real difference across the country to so many people that need it. Retrofitting homes is a vital part of our mission for a whole range of different reasons. It helps us tackle climate change, it reduces fuel poverty, it improves energy efficiency, and it creates warmer, healthier homes for people who need it the most. Schemes like the Hug2 scheme, the Eco scheme, the Great British Insulation scheme, and now the Warm Homes Local Grant, they're all key tools in driving this effort forward. We first introduced an eligibility checker for the Hug scheme back in September 2023, and it was created to bridge a gap that we had seen between homeowners and local authorities who were responsible for the delivery of the scheme. We've now expanded and improved that service for the Warm Homes Local Grant with the ambition of reaching even more households, especially as this new scheme targets both people on and off the grid, whereas obviously the Hug scheme was just off gas grid. So from the 1st of April, the Warm Homes Local Grant Digital Eligibility Checker will go live. It will be hosted on gov.uk and is designed to make it simpler for everybody. And what it will do is it will allow homeowners and private renters to check if they're eligible for the Warm Homes Local Grant scheme. And if they are, and they wish to proceed to be referred to the local authority, then what it does, it will automatically refer them to their own local authority. And at that point, the local authority would pick up that referral and take things from there and talk to the homeowner themselves or private renter. So in general terms, the service aims to empower residents to quickly check their eligibility. It should be a simple service that's able to be used by the majority of the public. We also have a national phone line that will be a digital assist service as well for those that can't. We want it to connect eligible households directly with local authorities for those funded home improvements. And, you know, for local authorities and delivery partners, we want to streamline your workload by surfacing just those eligible leads. So trying to kind of weed out those people who might not be eligible and allow you to focus on those that are. So in terms of kind of the challenge here, ultimately, we've got long-term goals. We need to achieve net zero by 2050. But really importantly, and particularly for these schemes, we need to upgrade as many fuel-poor homes as possible to the EPC Band C by 2030. But beyond these targets, these are obviously the legal targets. There's so much more to it than this. So this is about lowering energy bills. It's about improving comfort and making homes more resilient as costs rise. And you as local authorities and delivery partners, you're absolutely critical to that mission. You know your areas, you have local knowledge, you've got local networks, and you're uniquely placed to deliver those projects at the scale and with the impact that's needed. I mean, without you, we cannot deliver this. You absolutely know your communities, and we are obviously reliant on you to do that. So this tool's been designed to make that job easier. It is ideally will free up some time for your teams and help you engage with those households more effectively. So why does it matter? Why does the check matter? So when we developed the Hug2 checker, we received quite a lot of clear feedback. We were told that identifying eligible households was time consuming, It was tricky for local authorities. It was a bit like a needle in a haystack in some areas, trying to find those properties where people were low income and had the right EPC rating. And that was really hard for local authorities to kind of track down. But also those households, those residents who really needed the help, didn't know that the help was available. And sometimes when they were contacted by local authorities, it seemed too good to be true. It felt like a scam. So the new tool is designed to tackle some of these barriers sort of head on. So effectively providing that clear and consistent information on eligibility. We also want to filter out those people who are not eligible up front so they get the answer as quickly as they can. So we're not sending them on a journey that leads to disappointment at the end. We want to generate those quality leads from the genuinely interested residents so that, again, local authorities, delivery partners aren't wasting their time talking to residents who really are interested in taking any work forward. But also we want to improve that kind of equity of access. So making sure the harder to reach households can benefit from these schemes. So with the Hug2 checker, we generated almost 20% of all successful installs done by local authorities came through the eligibility checker, which is a huge result. Since it was an optional service, it was launched midway through delivery. So it shows that the method works. So for the Warm Homes Local Grant, the expectation is that the tool will be mandatory. This would give us better oversight. It allows us to track referrals and it ensures kind of that fairness and consistency across the country and allows us to kind of message it in that way. But also just to be clear on this, this is just a tool to help you. It's not designed to replace your systems. You know what works in your areas. It's designed to complement your work and help expand your reach. But I think the expectation is, you know how to reach your communities as well. So should continue to do that. So this tool has been shaped by genuine collaboration. We've involved local authorities, delivery partners, and have done extensive user research. So a massive thank you to all those people who've been involved so far. We had private beta testing earlier this month, which went brilliantly. So thank you so much to everybody who was involved in that. The feedback has been fantastic and we've been able to action a lot of that. But of course, this is just the start. The service, as you would expect, all digital services, they evolve. We get feedback. There are feedback loops, there's surveys within the service. So please keep sharing your experiences as you go. Tell us what works, tell us what doesn't work, and that will allow us to improve the service as we go. But ultimately, this is about making it easier for homeowners to access support, as well as freeing up your teams to focus on the efforts where they'll have the greatest impact. So we're genuinely excited to show you what we've built, and obviously more excited to see it actually in action, helping the households kind of get connected right across the country. So obviously I know you're keen to see how the tool works. So during this session, we will walk you through the service. We will answer the questions during the Q&A session, and then we'll provide you with information about the next steps to get started with the service. So with that, just to say thank you for listening, I'll hand over to Ladu, who will start us on the demo. Thanks very much.
Hi, thank you. I'm Ladu. I'm the delivery lead at Softwire, and we are third-party supplier who supports the WHLG service and some of the other eligibility checkers. So I'm just going to walk through what I'm going to do today. This will be a live demonstration of the service. I'm about to share my screen, so we're going to hope everything works well. What we're going to cover today is the user journey. So I'm going to cover first what a user will see and experience when they come onto the service and they submit a referral for the WHLG program. Then I'm going to walk through what you, as a member of a local authority or a consortium managing a local authority, what you will see when you go on to either to log on and sign up for the service, to view the available downloads, and also to download the referrals that have been submitted. And then finally, very quickly, I'm going to show you what a kind of download referral document actually looks like and how to interpret it a little bit. And then so you can then take it forward and process it within your sort of systems and processes as you set them up. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, I'll begin. So as you probably know, for all gov.uk services, there is a homepage that you will see that occurs that is owned by GDS. So the service isn't live yet. It goes live on April 1st. So that homepage isn't available, but it will be a really sort of long explanatory page that outlines when to use the service, who's eligible for the grant, what the grant covers, how to get support online and over the phone. And then there is a really lovely green start button that they will click that will bring them to this page. And this is the entry point into the service itself. So once I'm here, I'm just going to either accept or reject analytics cookies. This is something that enables us to understand how the service is being used along with the feedback. And this is something that we can then use to respond to any concerns or questions, or obviously take positive feedback and approval from users who are using it. So I'm just going to accept the analytics cookies here. Great, and then hide that message. So this takes us to the first page of the service, and this is where the user is going to answer some of those key eligibility questions that determines their ability to submit that referral for WHLG, giving you guys those relevant referrals that you really need. So on this journey, if I choose an option that indicates my ineligibility, it will direct me to a page that explains why I'm ineligible and also directs me to some other resources or other government departments that can help me. So on this page, this service is only for properties located in England. So if I choose another option, for example, Wales, it takes me to this page. And as you can see, it gives me the reason for ineligibility, but it also shows me some other information, the Great British Installation Scheme or Eco Scheme, that I can actually still click onto and go and look for eligibility for. So I'm going to click back here. I'm not going to demonstrate every single ineligible answer in detail because it would take a little bit too long and we only have 20 minutes. But I might just indicate it for you. So as we said, the country is the services only for properties located in England. So I'm going to choose the England answer. Continuing on, again, as I said, these two options would indicate ineligibility. The service is only for people who own their own properties and live in them. So I'm going to click here and keep moving forward. At this point, we're going to ask for some information about the property itself. And I'm going to pop in some postcodes. I just want to indicate what happens when you put in a postcode that doesn't work, just because the user might be confused or there might be, I mean, we pull postcodes from Ordnance Survey, but as you know, they may not be up to date or something may have changed. If I put in this postcode, I know it's not going to work. It says no address is found. At that point, I'm able to enter my address manually. So if I'm entering an address manually, what that means is that may mean for you when you receive that information later, the address may not be in a standard format. So I just wanted to raise that to be aware of it. But it does allow the user to submit a referral, even if their address is not found for some reason. Maybe the address is new or it's a new property and an Ordnance Survey have not caught up to date. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to submit an address that I hope should work, that should exist. And then the service is going to look for that property. So here we are, we have a number of addresses that match the postcode and number, in that it was, I just entered one and the postcode. I'm going to choose a property genuinely at random, and I'm going to press the continue button. Okay, at this point, after having submitted some information about the property, we're going to continue just looking at eligibility, going through eligibility criteria. So it's going to ask me about my annual household income. And for this, I'm going to choose 36,000 or less, again, to continue on the journey. It does note here that the local authority will carry out income verification checks, which is true. So again, this is something that we've put in there to help you only receive referrals that we think you can take forward and you can use, because I think, as Charlotte noted, your time is very valuable and we want to make this tool as helpful as possible. So continuing forward, here is an opportunity for me to check my answers and make sure that they're correct, go back and change them. If I've put something in incorrectly, if my address doesn't look correct, I can go ahead. And then once I've checked my answers and I'm happy with them, I'm going to check press continue. Okay. At this point, I'm sorry, I've noticed that I've gone through this service before, so it's doing a little bit of pre-filling, and I apologize for that, but let's continue. So at this point, we are going to indicate some eligibility to me, the user, and we are also going to indicate which local authority or consortium I am under. So here, I've popped in a postcode for this district council, just for the purposes of demonstration. And there's a little bit of information here given to me about what is going to happen. I might be contacted by you or by an official contractor. That was very important because sometimes people are contacted by third parties and they're not sure who they are. So in this situation, I'm going to be vetted here. So this is important for them to know. I'm going to pop in my information, my name, and I'm also going to choose how to be contacted. I can be contacted by email or phone or both, but it needs to be one of those. So if I pop in my email address, I'm going to pop in, my email address here. And also I might pop in a phone number. Okay. So this is obviously not a real phone number for the purposes of the demonstration. So at that point, I'm going to click the submit button. If I choose not to share my information, again, I won't be able to go ahead, but I'm not going to indicate every ineligible step. I'm just going to note it here. Okay. At this point, I've submitted my referral. Fantastic. So this is what I see. I now get some information about what happens next. I'll receive an email confirmation. I will also see a sort of timescale indicated for me, which is about 10 working days. And I'll be encouraged to contact you guys, my local authority, within 10 days. if 10 working days, sorry, if I don't receive a response. I'm also given the ability to be contacted for future grants. I'm going to say yes and submit. That indicates the success of that submission. And at the bottom here, I can give some feedback, and I can also on the service, and I can also submit an equality or diversity questionnaire. So this is sort of the end of the service. For me as the user, this reference code I can keep, and I'll be able to communicate that during the journey. So that's what's going to happen as a user. So hopefully that was interesting. Please pop any questions about that in the chat. I now want to move to what you're going to see as the person managing the referrals. So I'm just going to move to the next tab. You are going to log into a different part of the service to look at the referrals that have been downloaded. It has a similar URL. I can see that, except it will be appended with portal. So if I just, and then that brings me to a slightly longer URL, but don't worry about that. What I can see here is I can sign up, and I can sign in. So when you begin the service, you won't have signed up, sorry. You'll have only had your email sort of indicated to us as acceptable to sign in. So I'm going to have to sign up. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to click on the sign up here. Once that's the case, it says sign up with a new account. Now, just to be very clear to you guys, only people who have the authority to manage referrals for the specific local authority or consortium will be able to sign up here. And what you see here will be tailored to the local authority or consortium of local authorities that you have the authority to see. So no one has the ability to see this in an authorized fashion. So don't worry about the security side of that. So what I want to do, because I think we have time, is to very quickly sign up, because this is something sometimes people aren't very familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and actually sign up. So I'm going to put in an email address that should hopefully work for the purposes of this demo. And then I'm going to actually have the email and everything sign up for me. So let's hope this works. Okay, I'm putting in a password. And as you can note, the password has to fulfill certain criteria. And when it does fulfill those criteria, these sections here turn green with a little tick. I'm then going to click sign up. Okay, now what's happened is a verification code has been sent to the email address that I indicated. So just off screen, I'm going to open my email, and it's going to show me the email address with the confirmation code. Because I'm not worried about security, because this is a temporary email address that's been set up, I'm just going to show you what that email looks like. There will be a confirmation code here within the email, and it should come relatively quickly, but I would give it, sometime, maybe about 15 minutes if necessary, and just keep the page open. So now I'm going to pop the verification code in, and I'm going to confirm the account. At this point, it's going to ask me for multi-factor authentication. And this is something that's really useful and important. Again, it's for security purposes. We want to make sure that only the right people can enter the portal. So I'm going to click into our Authenticator app. And I think if people are familiar with this, hopefully this should be quite straightforward to you. If not, please speak to the Kai team. They're happy to talk this through with you and to help you get access through here. So what I'm doing off camera is I'm taking my phone out, I'm opening my Authenticator app, and I'm adding a work or school account. I'm going to scan the QR code. I know this is a bit silly because I'm doing a bit off screen, but I think it's useful to do it. So now what this creates is a login for me. It gives me a set of numbers that's constantly changing just to keep that secure, I think every 30 seconds. I'm now just going to pop the number in, and you can add a device name. I'm not going to do that at this time. And then I'm going to click sign in. Fantastic. Here we are. This now signs me into the portal. So this is what you're going to see, and this is the primary place in which you're going to manage the referrals. So the first thing I think you can see is that it says, welcome, please read all contents in the supporting tab, or it should say please, but it just says read all contents in the supporting tab, documents tab first. So I want to go to this supporting documents tab here and just explain what this does. So here are a number of supporting documents that can help explain the service and also explain how to read the data on the Warm Homes local grant, surveys, and documents that you see. It is worth just looking at this. It tells you a little bit about the portal, the timeline for portal updates, and all of these things. It's really useful just to look. I do recommend it. The links here are not links off screen. They're just navigation links within the page. They just take you further down on the page. So don't worry about that. But obviously what we want to look at is we want to look at the referral files themselves and the referrals. So I'm going to bring us back to the referrals. Okay, so on the left here, you can see all of the local authorities who I have the authority to view referrals, So they are listed here on the left, and at the bottom, there is a filter that I can apply to remove or reduce the number that I see. Now, at this moment in time, the consortium I have the authority to see, which is a group of local authorities, is Portsmouth County Council. This is just for the purposes of demo. Portsmouth County Council contains all of these local authorities, so I can see them all. And what I can see on the right here is I can see the Portsmouth County Council consortium referrals and then a referral for Portsmouth itself. The referrals are grouped by month. So right now I can see the referrals for March. In April, I would see another set of files that would be the referrals for April, and so forth. I'm also able to see referrals from any individual council. I can download those referrals, or I can download the referrals for the entire consortium, which would mean, as we've said, all of the local authorities here would be within this file. You can also see that there's this new indicator on the right. That means that when you log in, if you've already downloaded files, you don't have to come back and re-download them. You'll be able to see that new indicator, which will tell you which files you need to download and which files are most critical and important for that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into this and I'm going to open the files so that you're able to see exactly what you'll actually be working with and what you'll download. I'm just looking at the top here, and just to make sure that everything is covered, I think we've covered everything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the referral files so you can see them. So let's look at the download the referral files. I'm going to just download, I guess, Portsmouth County Council here for one moment. When I download by clicking these links here on the left. If I click on this link, it's going to download it. It's going to attempt to save and download to my computer. So you shouldn't be surprised by this dialog popping up. It's going to save in my computer. It typically saves to documents, and it's going to save a CSV file. So a CSV file for most people will open in Excel automatically, but that may not be the case for you. So please, again, just check with your IT team and your local team to see whether or not it will open in Excel, but that's what we'd expect. So I'm just going to save this into my documents folder, okay? And then I'm going to open my documents folder. I can do this on or off screen. I don't think it makes a difference. And then I'm just going to open the file. It will open into Excel. It's going to ask me if I want to convert. Don't convert. Excel likes to get exciting. And this is what it looks like. Okay. So I'm just going to open the referral document a little bit and walk through it. Okay. So I can see there are some referrals that have been put in today are not here yet because, I'm going to just make this a little bit smaller because I don't want to necessarily show the address, but I'm just going to walk through some of the information and how to interpret it. Okay. So the first thing we can see is this is a CSV download. And before I go into it, I'm just going to minimize one moment and just point out that if I refresh this page, these new disappear. So again, we see that the system is working and that it will only be notified for new referrals. Okay. So let's get into the referral document itself. I'm just going to maximize it again. Okay. So what happens with this document? This is to a certain degree the bread and butter of what you want. The user has gone through the journey, and now you are going to have a list of referrals that you are going to use to ingest into your own systems in order to contact users or members of people within your local authority to ask them to sign up for the WHLG scheme. So some of the information on this document includes the date of the referral itself, the referral code. Again, that's the reference code that we talked about. That reference code is something that the user will have, and it will be referenced in emails that they receive. And so it's something that if you are able to ingest it, or you're able to keep it within your systems, it means that if the user contacts you, they might refer to it, and then you would be able to use it as a way of just authenticating that you are a real person. We know that cyber scams and cybersecurity is becoming very important. And so this is something that we think has just been added to really help make users feel safe and secure when they're getting contacted by various people and being told that they're eligible for schemes. We're obviously getting information about the user, name, email address, if they put it in, telephone number. I'm just going to minimize this just because I think it's a real telephone number, address, and information. We've also got some information here, and I wanted to just note this because Excel tends to do this generally, which is if you have very long numbers and you minimize them, it likes to show them in sort of scientific notation. Don't worry, just maximize that out. It's just the same number, and you can also just click into that and you can see the number doesn't change here in the actual cell, regardless of what it says here. Same with this, it's once you maximize it out, you can see that it's just how Excel likes to be helpful by minimizing things. Don't worry too much. So Again, we're seeing information about the property. I don't want to belabor this too much, but we do have a UPRN. The UPRN is sort of a unique ID that's attached to a property. Again, it's not created by us, it's created by Ordnance Survey. So this is something that will be attached to EPCs and to other things. So I just wanted to note that this will be here, and we'd expect them to be somewhat unique, and you would be able to use them to refer them against sort of other files or other records that you have. We have EPC bands here because during the service, we have EPC searches being done on the properties as they're submitted, and any information will be put in here. We also have the EPC lodgement date, again, information on the EPC, and then just further eligibility information for the scheme, household income, eligible postcode. So what this means is that you're able to receive quite a long list of these, and you're able to go through them. Because CSVs are a really good, pretty standard and useful format, you may also have your own data systems and your own sort of structures. You can talk to your IT teams because these are kept as CSVs. It means that you might be able to automatically ingest them into Power BI or into sort of add them to other Excel or CSV documents that you have, or into any other kind of record keeping that you share. So this is something that hopefully will be useful for you regardless of sort of where the scheme goes or however your record keeping is done. Okay, so this is essentially a bit of a summary of how the service works.
Thank you, Ladu. I think that was really informative for everyone. If you need to get further support and you have questions regarding the Eligibility Checker and Referral Portal, please contact Eligibility Checker Support-CAI at energysecurity.gov.uk. And for inquiries about scheme policy or delivery, WHLG at energysecurity.gov.uk. So I'm going to bring the session to a close and say thank you to everyone for your participation in today's webinar. And if you have any feedback, please send it over to us at rise@turntown.co.uk. Thank you all very much.